Hello, everyone. Welcome to tinajesso.com. A very special day here today. I have a very special guest with me, Arielle Ford, who is a world-renowned dating and relationship coach. First of all, welcome, Arielle. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Oh, it's great to meet you, Tina.
It's a pleasure. And I'd like to start off by doing a brief intro, a very impressive bio here from our special guest. And so first of all, I just want to say I absolutely loved your book, The Soulmate Secret. It's actually at my bedside. Things that are important to me are at my bedside. So yeah, that really made an impact, this book. And so it's all about the love of attracting or manifesting the love of your life with the law of attraction. And overall, Arielle's message or mission is to help women find love, keep love, and to be loved. Isn't that wonderful? I just love saying it, actually. And as the president of the Ford Group, Arielle is widely recognized as America's foremost book publicist. And that's put her in contact with some really amazing people out there, like some New York Times bestselling self-help authors, including Deepak Chopra, Jack Canfield, and we love Jack. And I'm actually a Jack Canfield certified trainer. So I know the value of what Jack can bring. Mark Victor Hansen, Wayne Dyer, Marianne Williamson, and Louise Hay, all my personal favorites. But for now, Arielle has retired from PR and as her work as a publicist. And you're now you're really known for having written many groundbreaking books, including the one I just mentioned, as well as Turn Your Mate into Your Soulmate, a practical guide to happily ever after, and Wabi, Sabi, Love, which sounds amazing. And maybe if we can have you on at another time, Arielle, we can get into to those other ones, because I've started reading those as well, and they bring amazing value for people who are truly looking to bring meaningful love in their lives. So just to get started, Arielle, so what we were looking at talking about today is finding love for singles during this time of COVID. But before we get into that, what I would really love to do, because this will kind of warm us into the discussion about COVID, and that is how you got started in this field to begin with. And one incident in particular I picked up in your book is your connection with Barbra Streisand, and somehow how that inspired you.
Well, what happened was I woke up one morning 24 years ago, really long time ago, and realized I had forgotten to get married. And I was lying in bed, sort of, my eyes were closed, and I was feeling around the bed looking for my 25-pound cat. And all I found was this big empty expanse of bed. So I decided that I was 43 at the time. It's like, oh my God, I've got to get married. What do I need to do? And I decided to use everything I knew about the law of attraction that had worked so well in building my business to see if it would work on my love life. And that's what the Soulmate Secret book is all about. All the steps that I created for myself to manifest a soulmate, and it worked. And along the way in that process, I was watching Oprah one day, and Oprah was interviewing Barbra Streisand. And at the time, Barbara was, I think, 54-ish, something like that. And she had just gotten engaged to James Brolin. Handsome, handsome guy, right?
Yes.
And
gorgeous.
I realized in that moment that if God had the perfect man for Barbra Streisand, then I was going to be a piece of cake. Because here she was, this internationally known superstar, also internationally known to be a pain in the ass, diva, bitch, difficult, reclusive woman, right? I mean, everybody, yeah. I lived in LA, so everybody knew that about her. And I just thought, how, that's not an easy person to fix up. And yet she ended up with the perfect, handsome soulmate who worships and adores her. So watching that segment of Oprah, I had my own aha moment when I realized if God had someone for her, I was going to be a piece of cake.
Right, right. And actually, it was something that your mom said that you mentioned in the book as well, which I thought was pretty cool. And that kind of fit into what you just said, and that every lid has a pot, or every pot has a lid.
That was my grandmother who used to
Oh,
say
your
that.
grandma.
Pot, there's a lid for every pot.
Right, right.
And actually, what I've
So,
since found out is that there's hundreds of thousands of lids for every pot. You know, so many people have bought into the myth that we each only get one big love in a lifetime. And that's just total nonsense. It's not true. There's just like there's no shortage of fresh air or clean water, there's no shortage of love. So
okay,
you should know that.
that's beautiful. That should bring a lot of hope, actually, to singles that are out there. Within the space that I am with dating and relationships, and the speed dating that I was doing for quite a while, what I hear a lot from singles is that it is so hard. That's like, were you aware that the most Googled phrase concerning love and looking for love right now is, why is it so hard to find love over 40? Why is it so hard to find love over 50? And what I absolutely love with what you've done is with this book and with this whole principle is that it empowers you. It shows you that it's not just by chance that you can find love. You can actually bring things into your life and practice things so that you are able to attract not just, anybody, because anybody can attract anybody, but a meaningful love and somebody that's really right for you. So where would you suggest to people using the law of attraction? How would you suggest to
Well,
people to get started?
before we go into that, let me set it up a little differently for you, okay?
Okay.
So let's imagine that you are a divorced single mother of 4 children and you lose your job. Now, you have 2 options. One would be you would immediately update your resume. You'd go online, you'd start doing interviews. You would tell absolutely everybody you know that you're looking for work. And you would never say, oh, poor me, it's never going to happen. I'm never going to work again. Or you could sit at home on the couch watching reality TV going, poor me, I'm just not going to find a job. So you wouldn't let your children starve, right? Because God put you on earth to take care of these children. Therefore, you're gonna find a job come hell or high water, right? Well, what people, especially women, not men so much, but especially women, sit home on the couch watching reality TV going, oh, dating's so hard, love's so hard. I'm too old, I'm too fat, I'm too damaged. All the good ones are taken. I live in the wrong city. And they couple that with, well, if it's meant to be, love will find me. So that's like saying, well, if it's meant to be for me to have a job, the job will knock on the door.
Right.
So all this nonsense about it's so hard is just an excuse. It's not true. There's 7.5 billion people alive on the planet right now. Half of them are single. And figure if only 0.1 of 1% is available to you, that's still hundreds of thousands, and it's up to you to make yourself visible. Because if you're sitting home whining, bitching, moaning, complaining, crying, suffering, they can't find you. Amazon has not yet figured out how to do one-click shopping for soulmates. But thank God they may someday, but I won't be alive when that happens, right? But in the meantime, there's so much you can do to proactively make love happen. And that's what my mission is to sort of hit people up the side of the head and go, stop bitching and moaning and get to work.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, what you're doing really what you're saying and doing really resonates with me, because I use the law of attraction and Jack Canfield, the principles of Jack Canfield, as well as Tony Robbins in many years of my business, my former business of financial services. And I always say, and it's absolutely the truth, that why I was as successful as I was building one of the biggest agencies for the company that I was working for is through especially Jack's principles of success, the success principles. And who knew that you could take these success principles of the law of attraction and apply it to your love life? Like, duh, why not? You apply it to every area of your life that you feel needs improvement. So this is really awesome.
So, you know, I worked with Jack for years. Jack and Patty were at my wedding, as were about 20 other Chicken Soup for the Soul co-authors. I always say Jack paid for my wedding, actually, because he was my biggest client back in the 90s. But it's, you know, the law of attraction is very simple. Now, it doesn't mean that it's easy, but it's very simple. The law of attraction states we draw to us the people, places, and experiences that match our state of being. So if our state of being is, I'm loved, I'm lovable, I'm lucky in love, you will be surrounded with love. And if your state of being is, I'm a loser when it comes to love, it's never going to happen for me, blah, 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 that will also be your state of being. So using the law of attraction, whether it's for love or money or a new career or a puppy or whatever, it's the same process. First, you have to have extreme clarity of what your desire is. Extreme. And this is the hardest part. You have to know, be crystal clear. Oh, I would like to be married in a monogamous relationship with a man or a woman, doesn't matter to me, who is open, willing, and available to be my life partner, who will hold my hand in the good times and the bad, who's financially responsible and fun to be with, and is open, kind, creative, compassionate, whatever the words are for you. You have to, I can't determine that for you. You have to determine that. And once you determine that, then you have to get into the action part of it, you know, which is in the age of COVID, online dating, you know, and online dating can be super easy and super fun if you know how to do it with somebody like you. You're an expert. You can tell these people how to do it. But so many people have tried it and they were disappointed and they said, oh, I tried it. It didn't work for me. Well, that's like saying I watched The Secret once and I made a treasure board and it didn't work. So law of attraction doesn't work for me. No, that's not the way it goes. You have to dedicate every, you know, a time every single day to manifest what you're manifesting. And the thing that I learned along the way, which I call my secret sauce, is that I know that visualizations don't work. They do not work. Visualizations are pretty pictures in your head. I'll give you an example. You want a brand new blue convertible BMW. And you see in your head in these pretty pictures, you're driving down the freeway with the top down and your hair's blowing in the wind and you can feel the wood steering wheel and you can smell the leather seats. But your emotional being is saying, it'll never happen. I can't afford it. I don't deserve it. And those feelings cancel out all the pretty pictures. So what I did was I made up a word. I actually trademarked my made up word, and it's called a feelingization. And what we do is we take people from their head to their heart, and we get into a state known as heart coherence that the brilliant people at the Institute of Heart Math researched and studied. We go into heart coherence, and we actually re-experience feelings of love and appreciation and gratitude, so that in the now moment, right now, we're feeling love. And in that state of being in our heart, in heart coherence, we then drop in the desire for the soulmate. And then now I take people even a step further, where I can introduce anybody to their soulmate today. And it's a feelingization called the Golden Cord Feelingization. And I give these away for free on my website. And what we do is we go from our head to our heart. We get into the experience of love, heart coherence, love. And then we imagine a golden cord going from our heart to the heart of our soulmate in the unseen world, in the ethers. And we start the relationship today. I call it love before first sight. And there's a whole quantum physics explanation I can give you, but we don't have all.
I'm sorry, I have to interject here. Love before first sight. That's awesome. Instead of love at first sight.
So here's
oh my gosh.
Quantum science. Here's what we know for sure in quantum science. One, there's no past, there's no future, there's just this now moment. And two, we are all already connected to everything and everybody in the field. Every quantum science person will agree with that. There's only this now moment, and we all exist in the field. Therefore, in this now moment, in the field, you are already connected to your soulmate. So stop living like your soulmate's missing. Because when you're in the feeling of missing,
Right.
all God can give you is more of the feeling of missing. But if you decide to go into the field and acknowledge the truth that on the heart level, you're already connected to your soulmate, then you can have some power about manifesting them into the 3D world.
Wow. Okay, two things of what you just said really resonate. Number one, have you heard of Neil Goddard before?
I've heard the name, but I'm not familiar with him.
So it's kind of like a Napoleon Hill. Like this gentleman existed like about 100 years ago, and he's the first author, known author, to talk about how important it is in your visualizations to feel it. If you don't feel it in, it may happen or maybe not. But if you really almost want to guarantee it happening, you have to bring the feelings in there. You have to experience the emotions, right? Which is really cool. So that just correlates. I love it when science correlates with things like the law of attraction. And for some, it's maybe considered even a little bit woo-woo, but it's just like, bring
Hey,
on the woo-woo, right?
who cares if it woo-woos? Here's what you
Yes.
and I know for sure. This shit works. Okay?
Yes.
It works. Just like the law of gravity. Gravity's
Yeah.
always working. You can't see it. I can't see it, but it's always working, right? The law of attraction is always working. So we're constantly 24/7 drawing to us the things that our feelings are telling us are real. So if you're
Yeah.
saying, I'm broke, I have no money, my bank account is empty, I'm so poor, boo-hoo, the universe can't give you any money. As opposed to, what if you dropped into a time in your heart where you felt really abundant, where you had a big deal or some money, unexpected money came in, and you had this feeling of abundance, and you tapped into what does that feel like, and allow yourself to know that where's the money now? It doesn't matter where it is right now.
Yeah.
You are already abundant and it will come to you. But people are so impatient. One of the analogies I came up with in my book, The Soulmate Secret, was gardening. Like let's say you want to plant some sunflowers, all right? And you go out into the backyard and you till a little piece of soil and you put in your seeds and you put in a little fertilizer and you put a little water on it. And then you go back in the house. Now, you don't get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go back to see what's happening. Or you don't go back a week later at 3 in the morning and start tugging on the tiny little green leaves saying, grow faster, grow faster. You would never do this because you already trust that Mother Nature knows how to grow this flower in the divine timing. And that's where people get all fucked up, for lack of a better word, right? They just want it to be in their timing instead of knowing and trusting that what they've asked for is already yours, already theirs.
Right. And part of that is the letting go, right? It's really important because once you have this, you don't let go and you're gripped on this, or like you said, you go out every few hours in order to look at whether your garden is bearing any fruit or not, then you bring a struggle mentality, and it's like you're not quite believing that it's going to happen. Whereas if you just let it go out there in the universe, and
Right.
let go of exactly how it's going to show up, I think is a really important part of that.
Well, there's a paradox with the law of attraction. So on the one hand, you have to be clear and concise about your desire and infuse it with the feelings and the knowing. You also have to be in action, put feet to your prayers. And at the same time, you need to let go and be surrendered. And so that's where people get screwed up because, with the right hand, I'm being in action. And at the same time, you're telling me to be surrendered. And you can be both. You can know and trust that what you've asked for is already yours. You can take the appropriate actions and you can be detached from the timing of the outcome.
Okay. So do you think all of this, like the prep work that's involved in getting ready for love, which is, as you mentioned, like putting together your love list and everything that's needed in order to plant the seeds in your garden, as well as like a quote from your book that I really liked is to be human is to be wounded, right? To help to, forgiveness and letting go of the past and creating that space and that energy for the new love into your life. Like that's, do you consider that's all like prep work, pre-work, or should we be would you give the advice of doing both at the same time, getting ready as well as putting yourself out there, telling people, I'm ready if you want to
Yeah.
introduce someone to me, or, experience
Well,
online dating, what have you?
if you sit home and do nothing, then I can promise you a year from today, there will be no one in your life.
Right.
God helps those who help themselves. So you don't want to be totally obsessed where it's all you do and all you think about. But you have to say, like I always tell people, if you're willing to commit a half hour a day to going online, that's a considerable amount of time. The other thing I tell women, especially super busy women, that if you seriously want to have a relationship, you need to start blocking out the time in your calendar now for when you're going to be spending time with your beloved. Because they're always like, oh, well, when I meet somebody, I'll make the time. And it's like, no, no, no. Nature abhors a vacuum. Make the time now. Yes. And if Thursday from 7 to 10 p.m. comes and you have no date, then make it me time, or get on a Zoom call with a friend or do something else. But start living as if the one is on the way. You don't know if they're coming today or in 9 months, but be ready. Be living as if.
Right. Okay. I'm just so excited about everything that you're saying because it's such gold for people that are looking for love right now. And one thing that I really loved from your book, as well as your dating guide that's available on your website as well, the different steps of getting ready for dating, is that, you're putting everything in place. And one of your tips that I really loved is creating actual physical space for the person that's coming into your life. Make sure you got a bed that's big enough for two. Right? If you can maybe make a little bit of space for him or for her, when they're a little bit of space in the closet or in the nightstand or what have you. Would you add anything else to that one?
So as I just said, nature pours a vacuum. So you want to make sure the nightstand on their side of the bed is 100% empty. Make some space in the closet. Unless you live in New York City, that's a whole different story. If you have a 2-car garage and you've been parking in the middle, move over. Anticipate another car joining your car. So you want to send all these positive signs to the universe that you literally have space in your life and your home for another. And even if you're certain you're never going to live in the apartment you're in now with your beloved, you do it anyway. You do it as a symbol of your willingness and your readiness for love.
I love this. So in terms of, I thought this one was really great. In terms of your love list, if you will, and one of the rituals of getting ready for love, looking at the chief qualities and attributes, and maybe you can call them also your core values, right? Which I coach my clients in all the time. What I found in my own personal love life is that I have, it's an organic thing, your love list. You start off maybe with certain ideas of what you think would fit, your ideal mate or soulmate. And then you go out with someone, you say, oh, he has everything but this is a deal breaker. I'm going to add this one in there, like family values, for example. If you don't see that from the beginning, then, you know that it's maybe time to move on. Because like you said, it's a vast world out there, and it's not a scarcity mentality we need to have here. That's for sure.
You're
so
only looking for one. Let's remember that you only need one. Okay. Stop living like, well, I've never met somebody who fits that. No, it doesn't matter what happened in the past. You only need one. And that one is also looking for you.
Yes. In the quantum field, as you said. So, and what I loved about your book too, I'm going to come back to the love list in a second. What I loved about your book as well is that you tell all these stories, right, of your clients and your friends. Marcy Smirnoff, for example, has a great story, your sister, and your own personal story, you know, from when you started this journey, because it was because there was a void there in your life and there wasn't love, and how you created this. This was from your own experience, and how you successfully found like the love of your life. And you've been married now, I think, over 20 years or something like that, or a
22
long time.
years.
Yeah. So that is really, really awesome. So, goodness, where was I going with? Oh,
I was
yeah.
talking about the list.
Yeah. But what you've done is that you've created something else for people, another tool. Instead of just looking at the love list, which may be a little bit linear for some people, is that for the creative souls that are out there, you talked about doing a mandala of love, for example.
Yeah, yeah. So a mandala is a sacred geometry image that's used in Tibetan practices that has lots of open spaces in it. And in the book, there's a love mandala, and what the way you use it is you get a box of crayons or felt tip pens or colored pencils, and as you're filling in each little space in the mandala, you speak out loud a quality trait or a value that your soulmate will possess. And then once you're completed, when it's all colored in, then you put it on your love altar.
Oh, God, that's beautiful. Right. Or you could do both in conjunction, having your love list as well as doing
Oh,
something like
no,
this.
I suggest doing everything in my book. Do all of that's what the book is what I did. It's everything that I did to manifest my soulmate so many years ago. And it worked for me. And after it worked for me, I never intended to write a book. I was just intending to get married. But suddenly I was like the poster child for every single woman over 40 asking me how I did it. So one by one, I would share the process and it would work for them too. And it just sort of over time turned into a whole new career. So in 2004, I shut down my literary agency and my book publicity firm and just started teaching full time because there was a demand for it. And it happens to be a lot of fun, as I know you know. I mean, if you get paid to talk about love all day, there's not a better job on the planet.
Absolutely. And especially that you're bringing joy to so many people, joy and empowerment in the area of love. And, you know, I've been off and on online dating for a few years, and I can tell you from my own experience, from friends' experience, is that there are a lot of people out there, especially over 40 and 50, who are losing the sense that they ever are losing even the hope that they're going to find love, because it seems like such a massive undertaking with all the dating sites that are out there, with all the singles that are out there. But what I've been finding in my own experience and that with my clients is that you can narrow the field, focus the field, and get closer to what you really want by going through the steps that you outline in your book. And it's phenomenal. And what's also phenomenal is that instead of being contacted, let's say on a dating site, and this is my own experience and that of my clients, the more refined you get in your profile, the better your pictures are that really reflect who you are in all aspects of your character, and complete honesty and authenticity to the max in your profile. What happens is that maybe you are attracting less people, but you're getting better quality people that are responding to you. So the wasted time aspect, you know, losing hope, because it goes, and that's a good thing when you get less hits on a dating site. As a matter of fact, the quality goes up, the quantity goes down.
I actually recommend for women that you never wait for anybody to contact you, that you spend your time reading profiles of all kinds of men, even if you're not initially drawn to their pictures, that you read these profiles and you look for 3 things in each profile that you like, and that you reach out to them just as an experiment. You know, it doesn't hurt to have a phone call or a short video chat. You know, men are the ones that are super visual. Women have to have phenomenal photos to get a response. Men are so visual, and they'll barely read a profile, and it's just how they are. You know, but women, you can't be counting on the photos. You need to be reading the profiles. And one other thing, if there are typos or grammatical things, get over it. Okay. It doesn't mean that they're uneducated. I'm a highly educated person. I've written 12 books. I've been published around the world, and I make typos and grammatical errors all the time. So if you were to judge me on that, you'd be throwing the baby out with the bathwater. So, write a great profile, have phenomenal pictures, and then go shopping every day. Go shopping with an open mind and an open heart.
Right. Okay. So having an open mind, that means maybe looking at people that aren't necessarily your usual physical type. I'm with somebody right now, and I've said this to him right from the beginning that he's a phenomenal guy, but his physical type isn't usually what I respond to and what I reach out to. But he had a phenomenal profile, and his approach to me was just so classy and so nice. I could tell he was like a really amazing guy just from how he reached out. And normally speaking, if I hadn't been experimenting with this myself as a dating coach, because I'm not telling my clients to do anything that I haven't done or not prepared to do. So I said, let's just give this a try. And now we're like 3.5 months later, and it is really amazing. And, physical attraction grows over time, right?
Yes.
It can grow over
That's
time.
because the difference is men can fall in love visually, and men can experience love at first sight much more than women ever do. Women fall in love in between their ears. And from the research I've done, because I know lots of long-term soulmate couples, the majority of the women didn't even feel any attraction until the 5th date.
Wow.
So if you think, oh, I'm so intuitive, he's going to come to the door and I'll know in 20 seconds, you're wrong. And you're probably missing out on great men because you're counting on your intuition, which may really serve you in advising your friends or in your business, but don't count on it for love, okay? Because you don't know. And what you're looking for is a soulmate life partner who can actually, have great communication and connection and chemistry and a shared vision for the future, none of which you can tell by looking at somebody for 20 seconds. You have to invest the time to get to know them.
So I hope everybody who's tuning in now and in the replay really pick up on this. This is really gold. And another piece of, do you have any other gems or nuggets of gold, Arielle, to drop before we finish off that's especially related to COVID?
Yeah, so here's what's great about dating in the time of COVID. You can get much deeper, much faster in a video date than you could at a Starbucks. And here's why. If I were video dating right now, let's say we had a couple of emails, we had one phone call, we're now going to do a video chat. The first question I would ask them is, well, who have you been sheltering in place with? Instantly you're going to find out their living situation. Then I would ask them, well, what's the best thing that's happened to you since COVID began? Like, what's something good that came out of it? And then this is the third question, is where you're going for the goal to find out if they have any emotional intelligence. What's the hardest part been for you?
Right.
Are they going to open their heart and reveal to you the days where they were lonely or depressed or angry or all of the above? Like, can you have a real conversation? And so then you can make a decision whether or not you want to have a second video date. And I don't know about what's going on in Canada, but the United States, the fourth question would be, are you liberal or conservative? Because, politics is so polarized in here. Actually, I would find that out. If you read my profile, you would know that I'm a bleeding heart liberal, and no man would read my profile and want to talk to me. That's in America, that's an important thing to find out right away, because it is, it's, I don't
it's
have
very
to
polarizing.
It's so polarized, So that's what's good about dating in the time of COVID, because if you have a couple of video dates and things are going really well, and you found out that they're not an anti-masker, right? You could go on a socially distanced walk in the park. You can take things at your own pace because you have COVID as an excuse. And you can also learn about how cavalier somebody is or isn't with your health. Because even though you're young and healthy and feeling bulletproof, they don't know if you're, you know, living with your elderly parent that you're caring for, or if you have a kid with asthma or whatever. So those are the advantages of dating in the time of COVID. And I have to say, you've mentioned age several times. So in the world I live in, age is not a barrier to love at all. And in fact, I have one friend who's 72 years old, who's been divorced for many, many years. And right at the time lockdown started, she had just gotten back online dating, and she met this guy on Match. And like for 6 months, really all they could do was video chat, you know, and now they are actually living together, madly in love. Everything's going great, but they had that slow ramp up time.
Right.
And, you know, and the other thing is, my friend who's 72 is 6 feet tall, and this guy is 5'7". But it doesn't matter because they fell in love on video. I mean, she knew he was shorter, but they had never physically been together. And honestly, she said she's having the best sex she's ever had in her entire life. So age is not a barrier to love. Only your belief about it is.
Wow, wow, wow. I just, you know, I can't get over all of the wonderful tips and nuggets that you've just dropped here. And I really hope it goes a long way to opening people's hearts to love, and especially to, you know, because it's really important to have that actual physical action, like feel that physicality of opening your heart. And I read something somewhere that said that basically when you open your heart, especially as a woman, your estrogen levels go up. And when your estrogen levels go up, what happens is that you're more prone to attraction, because men are attracted to estrogen. It's something that we can't see or feel, but it happens out there, even in, you know, an online dating profile. So yeah, this has been just totally amazing. I personally love this chat. Arielle, thank you so much for coming on today. Any last words before we clue up?
I just want to let people know, if they go to my website, to soulmatesecret.com, there's a tab called free stuff. And that's where you'll find the golden cord feelingization. It's totally free and it totally works. And there's, in the free stuff section, obviously there's a ton of free stuff. So check it out.
Yeah, and they should enroll for your email list, on your email list as well, because I have, and, you know, and the stuff that you give out and the different events that you're doing, for example, is really, really interesting. And I would highly encourage anybody to register for all that information. Once again, Arielle, thank you so much. I hope to have you on at another time, and I'm going to put all your contact information in the feed as well.
Okay, thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Thank you. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.